it's Cara here. Today I'm jumping on just to do a flip through of my Canson art book 1. It is finished, kind of. There's, well, you'll see 2 pages that I'm kind of umming and ahhing about, but you know, we'll get there. But yes, it's mostly done. There's 2 pages to be finished, but they are in progress and potentially not ever going to be finished. But yeah, this is a journal that I started in May, I believe, that I bought in Morocco. So it's now November. However, I did spend 2 months in Lithuania not creating this journal, so it hasn't really taken that long, about 4 or 5 months. And I don't create in just one journal at a time, as most of us. So I just thought I'd do a little flip through and we'll see how it goes. It's quite chunky, so I might have to do it in 2 parts, but let's just crack on. So I use my art journal just for me, really. I create in it. I don't create chronologically, so this is not my first page in the journal. I quite often flip to the middle of my book, open it out, because then what I find is when you're getting towards the back, like here, these pages are not all chunky, they're kind of even if you start in the middle-ish. So anyway, this is, these images are from Collage Soup. I think Face It, but don't quote me, I'm not very sure. My background is just created with blocks of colour, and then I've got a layer of gesso over the top. Black paint to splatter, bit of black paint with a like an old store card, a credit card or something in the background, and some stamping. This is one of my favourite stamps. I know it's a Tracy Scott stamp, it's a mini, I think it's TSM01. It's just some small dots, I love it. And then a little bit of text stamping in the background. Very simple page, drawn around the outside. But yeah, one of my favourites in this book actually. I love that I've kind of managed to replicate the background of this one into the whole page, and then I got like the black lines from these ones here. Tried to kind of replicate that a bit with what I have. This is just a little quote. Kind of, when I start a brand new journal, sometimes, I don't know if you feel this, but you know, a whole load of blank white pages. So just a little reminder of myself, for myself, of, you know, this journal is for me, give myself permission, and yeah, just get the paint out basically. So I quite often do double page spreads. However, I do sometimes, if I've not got the time, do the single pages. So I prefer a double page spread. So there will be quite a few of those. This again is from Collage Soup. This is from Robotropica, as are all of these little elements, although from various pages. This is just Tim Holt's, I think it's called Small Talk. Sometimes you have to take chances, be brave with your life, you are enough. Today's a good day and make it count. So I believe the dog was on a greeny background, which kind of matched in with these bits of greenery here. I just did a blue background, paint swishes, bit of stamping. This is for a stencil. Again, a little bit of stenciling here, more stamping. Yeah, these are stamps, yeah. I thought they were lids, but they're not, they're my stamps. But they're watery. What I did was Posca paint pen and then squished it with a bit of water to make it like a watercolour effect stamp. I really like that. You can also do it with scribble sticks, it looks amazing. So this is, again, Collage Soup. Seem to have done a lot at the beginning of this book, although it weren't at the beginning. This is a process video on my YouTube channel early in November. I can't remember the date, but yeah, Collage Soup. This background, the pinks, were already created, and they're actual Dina Wakley paints. I did create this way back when, and then I added like the blues and the over the flowers and the mark making in my process video. And these quotes are from Diane Reevely, Bigger Back Chat. So yeah. These are just a couple of magazine images. I like playing with magazine images, but this one, it went through some stuff. The dress I decorated didn't like it, redecorated, didn't like it, ended up just painting it purple and just kind of was like, right, I'm done with this now. The background I really loved. Blues, purples, yellows, bit of stamping, bit of stenciling, and again the bigger back chats. This again, another magazine image. These flowers are all from Collage Soup Books, as is this butterfly. I have recoloured these using Prismacolors, so they won't look like this if you've got the books. This background I didn't really like. I'd done paint smushing with like an old gift card, and then tried to sort of tone down the colours with white gesso. Still didn't really like it, hence covering most of it up. I've got a little bit of stamping in the background there. So this, I believe this is also a Collage Soup image, but this background, this is not watercolours. This is done by using paint pen, wetting it with my demister squisher bottle of water, and then smushing it using a bit of like packaging, like you know, the packaging like this that comes with everything basically. You get stamps in it, so I just use it to smush on, and then I let it drip a bit. This was done on an individual piece of paper first, and then I stuck it in. I do that quite often if I'm doing like a watery effect, because this paper here, this Canson art paper that I have, it's this. It's very good for watercolour, whereas the paper in this book is quite smooth, and I think the watercolour goes on this paper better. There is a layer of gesso behind it as well, but these wings were not on this girl. I added them, and then this is just a bit of stenciling that I did. These are kind of the pages that you know, this little front quote encourages me for. Give yourself permission. Just some collage in the background, smushing my paint on using, I believe this is again with a credit card or store card. These are created using a plastic bottle. These are lids, and I think that's all. There's no stamping there that I can see. And then just, I've been kind of playing with different lettering techniques. So yeah, just play. That's what you should do in your journals. This is in here because this was very sticky, but I think I've solved it by using my new sealer. This has been a godsend. The paint here in Morocco I found quite plasticky and it sticks. So I found this in one of the art shops, and this has been amazing. You spray it on, I think it's 30 seconds. Oh, it's all in French and Arabic. So you spray it on, and 30 seconds later they say it's good. And touch wood, my table, this has not stuck. But I do tend to keep my sheets in when the books are closed, just in case. Just a bit paranoid. So this was kind of an accidental page. I was cleaning off my masks from a page that you'll see up here. As I said, I don't work chronologically, so it's a page further on. And I realised that it had this lovely, you know, this effect that you get. So what I did was I got myself out a brand new piece of watercolour paper and purposely cleaned off my masks. Now, I was using the word colour, so I used every colour of the rainbow, and then every letter I just dropped onto here to see where it would land, and then wiped them off with a baby wipe. So this is the word colour in rainbow colours, but with the, obviously the negatives are gone because I used masks. But I really loved this. And I've also got another page that's a little bit like this, where I cleaned off the stencils from another one, but I just loved this one, so I stuck it in. This was part of the Sketchbook Revival Binge Fest, which was early this year, 2025. There's a lot of pages in here from the Sketchbook Revival, because that's why I bought myself a new journal. So this journal started because of Sketchbook Revival. I didn't have a journal with me here in Morocco until I was starting that, and then I went out and purposely found one. The paper was a bit thin, so actually what I have done, which I should have mentioned, is stuck 2 pages together throughout most of the book. This one I haven't, because I was only doing so this collage page come first, and then I realised I needed to stick pages together. Well, because I've done this on an extra piece of paper, I just stuck it on. So some of the pages where I've painted on, I stuck together, but if I was doing just collage or drawing or sticking something on, the pages are single. But I've got another one of these journals on the go now, and the first thing I did was stick 2 pages together. So this was Anisha Miriani class, originally a 2021 class. If you don't know about Sketchbook Revival, it's by Karen Abend, A-B-E-N-D. And basically a load of artists come together to give you classes. I think it's for 2 weeks normally. You can then buy VIP access, which gives you unlimited access to all those classes for that year. However, in 2025, she did a Binge Fest one, which was, I think, 5 years worth of classes. It was well worth the money for VIP, so I bought that. I did a few whilst it was live, and then I've been doing a few more since. These are washi tapes that I've made. So just masking tape with, that one's got stenciling through it, and this one's just painted on. I have got a process video on my YouTube going up, I think next month, well, it's in the next few weeks anyway, of how to do this, and I'll show you my process for doing it. But this was loose florals. I'm not really a floral person. I don't do watercolours much, but I had so much fun doing this that I have done a few more, I think, in this journal. So yeah. Again, this was part of Sketchbook Revival. You probably can't see that because I wrote it in pencil, but it says Expressive Arts Play by Shelley Clammer. So her class was from 2018, and it was about cutting magazine images out and finding words that spoke to you and just sticking them on, nothing else. So this lady was in a magazine, and then I decided to stick the words all round her, especially as this one said pulled in all directions. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure everyone feels that at some points they are pulled in many, many directions, you know, family commitments, friends, work, whatever you've got in your life. But yeah, this was that. Again, part of Sketchbook Revival. This was Watercolour Techniques and a Leafy Reef. That was the name of the class, by Sarah Simon, a 2021 class. So she took you through a few watercolour techniques to create your leaves, and then she took you through making a reef. I think I did this the same day as I did this one, which is because they're on half a paper each, and I've stuck them in, you know, the same kind of way. Again, so just washi tape, homemade. This was for a stencil, and this is painted on. This one is an image from Collage Soup. This is actually like one of the title pages. So underneath here, there was a lot of writing about the artist who collaborated or something like that. Then this was, I believe it's out of the Robotropica book. This was also out of the Robotropica book. And I just painted gesso over the words so that I could use this lovely frame because I just couldn't waste it. Stuck them in with a few little words from Tim Holt's Small Talk. This class was from, I believe it was called something mixed media. I'll have a look and I will post it in the links, or I might find it on another page. It's like the Mixed Media Expo or something 2025. I haven't wrote down the lady who did this class, but it was about, you know, one-line drawings and those colours you don't normally use together. Now, I don't use red much in my journal unless I'm doing a rainbow, so I chose red, and one of my favourite colours was purple, but I never really mixed them together. So I followed the instructions, drew my face, elaborated, you know, lips and hair, and then there is some collage fodder in the background which I made using book pages, and then used the same stencil to kind of mix that in with the colours. So the stencil that was on the book pages is also the stencil I've gone over the top with, so it's not all book pages. This was a test, as you can see, my Faber-Castell watercolours that I bought whilst I was here in Morocco. This little lovely little set. I didn't bring any with me, so I bought these since being here, and I just wanted to see what the colours looked like because this would be the journal I was going to use it in. But it's a great way to see, you know, how they actually look on paper compared to what they look like in your palette. So I did that. Again, this is on watercolour paper using that same technique where in fact this time I know I used paint. So I used acrylic paint, watered it down, smushed it on with a bit of that plastic, just where I want it. As I said, I do this technique a lot. I love it. I love the look it gives. And I do like to do it with either Posca paint pens or acrylic, because then I can layer on top of it without anything in the back moving. So if I did this with watercolour, obviously if I added glue, there's the potential that I'm going to, hold that up, there's the potential that I'm going to smudge a lot of that. Then I've done just a darker colour with a stencil there, another stencil, a stencil, and then these little circles are all stamping. This image is again from Collage Soup. And then this is just Stabilo All Pencil. It's a great pencil that you can activate with water, and it gives you this really nice smudged shadowy background. So I did that. Again, bigger back chat from Diane Reevely. So don't look at this one just yet. This is a Collage Soup image again. I love these two little birds. I didn't do much to this. I've added a lot more colour to the background in the same kind of muted tones that were already in there, but I've added stenciling, lines with a credit card, but again using these pastel-y colours that were in the back. So I've used like a turquoise, like a rosy, not watered down, gessoed down pinky colour, and then I made up like my own cream colour there. I've added a little bit of like green, like a mint green here. None of these are colours you can buy in a tube. I've made these all myself. And then I've added some stamping, some stenciling, a little bit of line work. I coloured over the birds a little and outlined them. And then this is again from Diane Reevely. So this is one of those pages I was talking about that's not really finished, as you can see. This is a class from Tamara Laporte, Willowing on all her socials. This is part of her life book. I never used to draw faces, and she makes it just so easy. I did this in May 2025. I drew it and I was so happy with it, I didn't want to paint it. And then I was on one of the Facebook groups and everyone was like, just paint it, you know, it's just paper. I started painting it and I fell out of love with it. So now it sits here like this. Now I need to finish this because this is worse than having bad painting, having it half finished. So it sits here at the moment. I will finish it, just I've got quite a few bits and I'm off for a few weeks in like a week or two. So yeah, it will get finished and I'll probably pop it onto my Instagram page so that you guys can see it finished. I'm sure we've all got pages like this one in our journals. This is again just from a magazine, probably Vogue. This here is some collage paper I made, same here, and a bit of stamping. This here and this is a mop-up towel, so a bit of kitchen roll that I've used to mop up some ink or paint or dry my brush on. It makes great texture, and again, you know, depending on what you've mopped up, the colours are great, but I just saw this black and thought it would be nice with this. And again, went red just for a little bit of, I don't know, a pop, trying to bring red into my journal. So this Love Your Life is the same stencil as what's in the background here. And then these hearts are stamps, I think from a Tracy Scott set. This little crown is actually from Collage Soup. And again, bigger back chat from Diane Reevely. So this is also from Sketchbook Revival. I cannot remember the name no, I cannot remember the name of the lady who did the class now, but I think it was called Matisse on My Mind. And I found this quote by Louise Hay saying, know that you are the perfect age. Each year is special and precious for you. Shall only live it once. Be comfortable with growing older. Because this image came from a magazine, and this Age Perfect was on an advert on the next page. And I'd seen this, typed into Pinterest for quotes about age and found this, and I thought that was brilliant. Everyone hates growing older, but we are the perfect age for what we are right now. We should remember to live it, no matter what our age is. This is for a Dina Wakley stencil, just on book paper, made my own like little embellishments. And behind there is like an American $1 note that I got from a cruise ship. So it's not actually a $1 note, it's from Royal Caribbean. They give them out for like a betting game, so I was using those in my journal. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not really a flowery person, however I saw some pages by Caroline Duncan, I believe, where she'd painted straight onto a burlap page some lovely florals, like Adina Wakely inspired. And I was too scared to do them straight into my journal, so I created myself one of those watery colour backgrounds using my paint pens, and then I did the flowers on some book pages, and I actually really liked how they turned out, so I cut them out and stuck them on and in. I messed up the edge a bit, but I'm fine with that. I was trying to create a decolled style edge and it didn't really work, but I didn't want to cut it down anymore and lose any more of my page, so that's how that is. Blurred edges. This was again Sketchbook Revival by Tony Burt, I think her name is. She does a lot of like stylized faces. I think there's another one in here, but this was, I think, one of the free gifts. So if you sign up and just do the free classes, there's some free gifts you can get, and you can get them throughout the 2-week period. However, if you sign up for VIP, you get sort of lifetime access to most of them, not all of them. It depends on the artist. But this was Blurred Edges. So this was like a girl. She gave us a reference image and we drew it in June. This, I don't really know what happened to this page. The background I did again with my credit card, and then I had this image, and I had a sort of image in my head of what it was going to look like, and it didn't really go there, and I've plonked on some words and left it because I don't really know what to do. I feel like she at least needs some outline or something, but for now she's there. This is my White Rabbit page. This is definitely a process video that will be up on my YouTube channel probably already by the time this goes live. But if not, it'll be up soon because I know it's already there. This is a free printable from Collage Soup. I believe the printable is 4 pages. It's called Alice in Wonderland. So if you go onto the Collage Soup website, you'll find this. These were not from the same picture as this, but they were all from that free printable. And then I've created this background with a little bit of collage, again from some of the printables out of that 4-pager. And then recreated the colours in those muted tones again, little bits of pinks to match with the flower, and then just the beigey colour, bit of stamping, a bit of stenciling, and some Tim Holtz words. But I really loved this rabbit, and I'm not really a big Alice in Wonderland fan, so this rabbit, I don't know, spoke to me. This was a little bit of me. I wasn't having the best day. Everyone has issues in their life, family, work, whatever. And I'd had a phone call and I didn't feel great. And I just drew. And this is what came out. I think I'd seen something very similar. I put the heart there, but I think I'd seen something very similar with like 2 sad eyes crying. And it had kind of resonated with me. But I haven't got a reference for it. So it just kind of came out me from somewhere. And then I've got in this background here, I've done a lot of journaling. That's why it's quite dark, you can't see that. Do your best, stay strong and focus on what's important, just to remind me all that rubbish that is in my head is not important. I need to focus on what is important and stay strong. I'm doing my best. So yeah, that's a bit of a page. This again is the smushing technique with paint pens, and this stamping is what I said. I use scribble sticks, scribbled with them onto my stamps, spritz them with water, and you get this lovely like watercoloured effect with your stamps. I did also do it with these hearts, just not as much water because I wanted you to be able to see it was a heart. These flowers I had in my stash, and this little leaf that's coming out here, and this girl is from Collage Soup. Maybe Journal Girly, because I think it's from one of the ones that I've actually got the physical book. So, but yeah. Again, as I said, I'm not really a flower person, but sometimes I just draw. This is paint, acrylic paint in the background, smushing technique. Again, as I said, I do love it. Bit of spritz of water, little bit of white stenciling, a little bit of stamping, and then I just drew these flowers on, and these middles were created on a piece of book paper. This was mostly because I was practicing the writing. So this writing I saw on, I don't know where, but I thought I'd try it myself, probably on Pinterest. And so I wanted something simple. So this was my simple, a little bit of splatter again with the same water coloured down acrylic that I was using. This was kind of a recreation of a page I'd done a while ago, which is in one of my Use It Up journals, which when I go back to England, I'm going to bring with me so that I can do flip throughs, because I've quite a lot of journals back in England. I'd done the original page in a small A5 book, and I thought I'd try and recreate it. Now in the background is some newspaper from here in Morocco. It's like an old telephone book. So I stuck that down, gessoed that, and then instead of going green, which the other one was, I went with blue. So this is a Dina Wakley stencil. Can't remember the name of it, but I will put it down somewhere. And I stenciled through them on book pages in a variety of colours, as you can see. Cut them out, did my little squiggly lines around them. I've got a few stamped in the background as well, just to kind of bring it across the page. Some homemade washi using some masking tape. And then this is a Dina Wakley stencil. I think it's called Alphas. The one where this one, it's those, but obviously the actual stencils. And then this stencil, Decide to Try, Lose the Fear and Be Wrong, is a darkroom door stencil. So grow through what you go through. This I loved. Again, this little smushing technique. And then again, practicing writing. So I just kept it simple. I did the wording on top of this and then decided just to keep it where it was, add nothing else, little bit of stamping, and love. When we have each other, we have everything. And that's how I feel about my husband. Bit smushy, I know, but there you go. This was from Sketchbook Revival. I don't like this page. However, the technique I learned doing these was invaluable to some of my other artworks. So I've left it in as a kind of learning process page. I can't remember the name of this because I actually wrote all the details on this page, and then because I didn't like the page, thought I just wanted to cover that up. I should have kept them. I might have a picture of it and I might add them somewhere, but for now it's just about the process and what I felt that day doing it. I love these kind of pages when I just need to do stuff. There is writing under here. Again, I've swiped my paint on with a paintbrush, done a little bit of reductive stenciling, a little bit of stenciling, and that was what I needed just to get out of me that day. But some of my go-to colours, purple, pink, normally with a bit of blue or turquoise, but not that day. This is another Tamara Laporte from Sketchbook Revival. This one was. So this was part of the 2020 Sketchbook Revival. This is the title of the class, Embracing You, Quirks and All. And it's about being different and, you know, embracing the good things you have. So we drew this quirky owl. I mean, if you follow her, you'd have seen this. She does this class and I loved it. I didn't really like how mine come out, but I have since done another one in another journal and I really like that. But this was the one I did following along the class. So I was happy with it at the time. So this one was done again as part of Sketchbook Revival. It was about letting yourself go. I used to teach in my studio that I had in the UK, and it was kind of like a warm-up exercise we used to do. So I followed along with the lady whose class it was, who I haven't written down, and did this page. And then I still had paints left. So on my own, I then did this page. I prefer this page to this page, but I've kept them both in to, you know, show again my progress. And I always remember that this is the one I did along with the class, and then I did this one sort of on my own stead. And yeah, as I said, I don't really like this one so much. I probably would have covered this up and just kept this one, but it's my journal, it's about learning, and it's about my experience and my process. So I've kept them both. This background was part of Sketchbook Revival, and I didn't want to leave it just as a background because it was about these paint swatches, and again, there's paint swatches under there on some book paper. And I didn't like the finished look. So I found this image in my stash, which someone had sent me a long time ago, and I've managed to bring it to Morocco. This is a little frame, again, I cut out from something, and this little bird came with another image from this same person. I don't know who the designer is for these images, which is a shame because I quite like them. And then again, I was just practicing the hand lettering from another class, which is in here. And yeah, this is what come of it. It's not my favourite page, but I don't hate it. There's elements of it I love. So yeah. So this here, I'm just going to skip it. This here is the word art page where we learnt how to do these things. So I'll just tell you. So this was called Whimsical Watercolour Word Art by Joanne Sharp. Originally a sketchbook revival 2020, but again we did the Binge Fest in 2025. So it's all about using watercolours. Let's just move that across. All about using watercolours to create words, using words in your journals rather than just images all the time. And we played on different ways of creating. So again, just I stuck it in and then added a little bit of my homemade washi tape. These are Staedtler watercolour crayons. Again, just did a test of them. It's these ones. Found them here. They're a little bit like a scribble stick, I'd say, but they're more chalky. I prefer the scribble sticks, but these were very cheap in the cheap bin, and I just wanted to see what they were like dry versus what they were like wet. And then I did some more of this writing because it was in my head from this class. So this page I actually really love. Again, it's got the red in it, which I don't know, it must have been out on the side from something else. But I just did a background and I had an image to stick over the top, and I fell in love with this so much that I didn't stick the image on it. This stencil is, I can't remember the name. It might be a Crafters Workshop one, I'm not really sure now, but this is a Dina Wakeley and this is a Tim Holtz, but this is reductive stenciling. But I just fell in love with this. The colours went together. Again, like I said, not normally colours I'd use, or the red anyway. And then this page was created from cleaning the stencils, which is what I quite often do in my Use It Up journal or on some separate paper. But I liked it so much that I've just left it as it is, as a kind of reflection of this page. So yeah, that's those. This image, I think this is another collage soup image. Yes, it is a collage soup image. I've cut it out and then it was quite dark, so I went with that dark theme, mixed up a few different greys, a little bit of a beige, and just basically went with it and created a whole heap of mess on the page, stuck my image on, blended her in, used scribble sticks, I believe, on the lips and the eyes, and then a little bit of Tim Holtz words there, the small talk again. This was from Sketchbook Revival Binge Fest. I don't generally paint flowers, and this was called Acrylics Are Great in Sketchbooks Too. It was a 2019 class by Anne Battle. I really enjoyed this, and I was showing someone here a picture of this, and they asked if they could see the original, so I took my sketchbook down to them, and then they commissioned me to paint it on a canvas. And it's now hanging in their restaurant. So there is a version of this up in a restaurant in Agadir, painted by me, which was quite exciting. This I love. This is pure collage, and I don't do this often, and I don't know why. Every single piece in the background is scraps from other pages that I've, cut up. You cut a face out, you get bits left. Because we travelled and then we moved to Morocco, I don't have a scraps box, or I didn't have a scraps box, because I weren't going to bring a load of scraps with me when I wanted my actual supplies. But you accumulate scraps. So this was all the scraps laid down in the back. Then I found this amazing frame, and I loved this image. I weren't really sure what I was going to do with it, but it looks like she's got scraps put through her. So it just came together. And then I found this quote, or they're two separate quotes actually, from the Bigger Back Chat, and I absolutely love it. It was so simple, so easy to do. Stuck all the collage down. I've got a little bit of line work around the outside, and that is it, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, sometimes the simple pages can be amazing. So this was another one of the freebies from Tony Burt from Sketchbook Revival. It was called She Emerges. So again, she teaches you, she goes through how to draw your face. This was done with like a 6B pencil. She really likes the darker pencils, and then you use watercolours to drip. You kind of do it up like this so that it all drips as you're painting. So yeah, I don't like this one as much as one of the others in this book, but I do like it. I think it's the hair. I don't do hair very well. I tend to go for wispy hair. So this one, but I do like her. So, right, this is again backgrounds created from the sketchbook revival. It was about smushing and, you know, just letting go. So I created this one during the class, and then I did this one after. Found these two magazine images, and then some bigger back chat. I'm just going to check the time because I don't want this to be too long, and this is halfway through. So I'm going to stop here because this can be part one, because it's already a 30-minute video and I wouldn't sit and listen to me for that long. So I'm going to say bye-bye. Thank you for watching and joining me today. Part 2 will go up, and then what I will do is also I'll post a version of this without me talking through it, so you can just kind of flip through the pages. But thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up, any comments in the description box. I'd love to talk to you guys. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.